Hi, cutie pies. I am Lanikia, and you're watching What Happened on the Soaps. Today is Tuesday. Excuse me, Days of Our Lives edition. Today is Tuesday, January the 2nd, 2024. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give this one it was a solid 8. It was good. It was short, though. It was a short episode. Let's go ahead and get into it. We see um, Trip. No, okay. So first of all, we see Ava and Stefan. Let's start with them. So Ava and Stefan are talking, and that she's explaining like they get off the phone call with Clyde, or at least Stefan does, and he's explaining to Ava that Clyde wants them. He said, I guess he found out 2 days ago that the product was bad, but he's just now telling them. And so now he's like, we need you to get that product off the streets because two teenagers have already overdosed. Now you have Holly in a coma. So he's like, we need you to remove the product. And they were like, what are we supposed to? It was like, what are we supposed to do to get this off the street? Like, how are we supposed to do that without people finding out it's us? And Stephanie's just like, I don't know, but our family is in danger. And Clyde, now it's our responsibility to do all this. And at first, Stefan didn't want to do it. And Ava said, Stefan, we have to do this because we are endangering people's lives. So we have to be able to get this product off the street. He was like, what are you going to do? Go to door to all the drug dealers? And she was like, no, I'm going to call in her family. And he said, Ava, you left that life behind. And she said, well, I don't have a choice. I said, well, girl, why didn't you just call them to get rid of Clyde? I'm just saying. You called them for this favor. Why didn't you call them and say, listen, Clyde is putting a squeeze on me and he's threatening Trip. So I need you to take care of him. Anyways, child. So that's it with her talking to Stefan, because the next thing you know, she goes and she comes back and she says, thanks, Don. I owe you one. And so he was like, what happened? And she said he's gonna get as much of it off the streets as he can. And then she tells him, he asks her, well, what does he want in return? And she said he's doing it as a favor. And he was like, Ava, he's gonna want something in return. She was like, well, I can't worry about that now. Like, I mean, what am I supposed to do? I can't worry about that now. It is what it is. So then um, Stefan ends up leaving, right? Because Trip comes in. Now Trip has been at the hospital and he's updated them on Holly, and so now he had talked to Rafe, and Rafe said that he had told Rafe that Ava had been calling him and it happened at the bistro, so he's concerned about his mom, and he was like, yeah, just go over there and check on her. So that's why he's at the bistro now. And I said, Ava and Stephen, y'all been sitting here for hours and haven't cleaned up a lick. So, anyways, he goes over. He's at the bistro and he tells Stephen, can he talk to his mom in private? And Stephen's like, yeah. So then he talks to Ava, and he's like, Ava, well, not Ava, but he's like, Mom, what's going on? Tell me you don't have anything to do with this. And she was like, what you mean? Why are you accusing me of anything? He said, because she was like, what? Because I used to be in the family. Now I'm back to my old ways. He said, because nothing is making sense. All of a sudden you got this job with Gil. And she's like, he low key said you were underqualified for the job, but she was like, I killed Gil for self defense and all that. He gave me the job because I was the best person for it. And he was like, yeah, but it didn't make sense. He said, so then you turn around and Stefan buys this shop. That doesn't make the bistro. That doesn't make sense either. And she said, well, it's a good investment. And he was like, Stefan don't need the money like that. And so then she was like, so what are you trying to say? He was like, none of this is making sense. Then you break up with Harris. And she was like, he cheated on me. And he was like, well, who? And she said, well, I mean, I can't tell you who because you wouldn't believe me anyways. And I said, so nobody giving up Stephanie on what she did. But anyways, she's just trying to explain everything away. And he was like, you can explain the Harris thing, but you can't explain the rest of this. I think this is a drug front. And she was like, why you don't trust me all of a sudden? He said, Mom, I told you I was moving out of the country. and you seem relieved and you real nervous and everything. He was like, but that was a dead giveaway for me when you seemed relieved that I was going. And I said, yeah, Ava, because everybody know you would have been trying to fight to get him to stay here. And she was like, And so that's it with these two, y'all. That's the bottom line is Trip doesn't believe what's going on with Ava, and he tells her, if you need to tell me if you're in over your head, what's going to happen. You need to let me know now. Because he already had told her, my dad is an investigator, so I put the details together. Anybody else could put the details together as well. And so she's just like, So we'll see if she tells Trip, what's really going on with her or not. So then moving right along, we see that they're all everybody. So Brady, Teresa, Rafe, and Tate are at the they redo the scene and everything, or at the police. I mean, not a police station, but at the hospital. And I'm just gonna pick up from where it left off yesterday instead of redoing. But actually, they picked up from yesterday, but they went back. So we see them all at the hospital, and now EJ is upset and he's accusing Tate of manslaughter because he said you provided those pills. Because Tate said no, I did not. He said, as a matter of fact, Holly has provided me weed before, and she got drunk on Christmas or Christmas Eve. So it's not like this. The pills. He was like, I have addicts as parents, and so there's no way that I would touch those. And so then EJ goes on, and he was talking about, should have known your like mother and father, like mother and father, like son, like your parents are addicts, so of course you would be an addict too. And of course, Teresa and Brady took offense to that because they were like, wait a minute, we straightened our lives. And he saw what that did to us, being addicts, and he made a vow that he would never touch it. And they were like, whether you want to believe it or not, those were Holly's pills. But EJ is on his rampage, and he's telling Tate that he's going to put him in prison, and he's going to try to get him tried as an adult. And he's going on and on until Brady just breaks and says, they were my pills. They were my pills. And then Trip comes out, because this is earlier before he went to see Ava. Trip comes out and he talks to EJ and Rafe, and he just tells them there's nothing they can do for Holly right now. She's in a coma, and Nicole is with her, and EJ can go back. So Rafe tells EJ to try to de-escalate the situation because they were getting loud. The nurse in the background was me. She was like, "What is going on here?" But to de-escalate the situation, Rafe tells EJ, "Go be with Nicole and Holly, because if there's charges to be made and everything, I will do it." Because at first EJ was like, Rafe, you will arrest them. And EJ was looking at Rafe. I mean, yeah, Rafe was looking at EJ like, you ain't gonna tell me what to do. But really, if he told him to arrest him. But he just tells him, go be with Nicole to try to de-escalate it. So they leave. And then he says, so Brady, you still want to stick to this story that it was you? And he was like, yes. And he was like, all right, come on down to the station. And of course, Tate is like, he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything. But Teresa was like, let your father handle this. So they go down, Rafe and Brady go down to the police station, and Tate and Teresa go to Marlena's and John. Now we see Marlena and John, and they're just reminiscing about what a good time they had, even though John fell asleep before New Year's. And she woke him up because he was asleep on the couch, and she was like, I didn't want you to get a crook in your neck. And so they're like, where's Brady and Tate? They must be having a really good time. But then it takes them so long to come back that John starts to get worried. Now, John and Marlena had talked earlier, and they did speak about, which I think is another storyline that they're going to, which is obvious because they've been having Constantine said something about it, but the storyline of there being more to I think John's father. I'm not sure if it's going to be about his father or what it's going to be about, but there's more to the story about with Constantine and John. And he said that they tried to he and Steve told Constantine that he needed to get out of town, and he was like, and Marlena was like, well, how did y'all do that? And he said, don't worry about it. Good guys win, or something like that. I said, okay, John. So They talk about that a little bit, but I just bring that up because I think that's going into the new storyline that they have going, which is going to involve Constantine and all that. So then he starts to get worried because he's like, Brady and Tate are taking too long. It's almost morning. And so that's when Teresa and Tate come in, and they were like, what's going on? And so they tell them everything that went down with Holly and how Brady is at the police station because he said that he did it. He supplied the drugs to Holly. And so John is like, oh, let me get down there. And so he leaves, and then Marlena tries to give Tate some warm milk to try to get him to sleep. But he's upset because he's like, my dad is taking the rap for something that he shouldn't have. And Teresa said, let your father and John figure this all out. They'll work it all out. And he was just like, I'm going to bed. So he goes to bed, and Teresa and Marlena talk a little bit. And then before Teresa leaves, she's like, I want to go ahead and tell Tate good night. Or not good night, but I'll see you later on, like if he's, still awake. And then she comes running down, and she's like, oh my gosh, Marlena, Tate's gone. And so then we see that at the hospital, EJ, I guess, has come from Nicole's room, and he's like breathing all hard, and he's all upset. His hands are shaking, his eyes are bloodshot red, and everything. I said, EJ, what's going on, sir? And so the next thing you know, he runs out of the hospital, right? And when he runs out of the hospital, we see that he went to Stefan, because I was wondering when he was gonna connect this, and he goes to Stefan, and he was like, you're the reason my daughter is in a coma right now. And that's how it ends with those two, with EJ accusing Stefan of this. And we know Stefan is the reason. And EJ, had you helped Stefan like he told you to, none of this would have happened. I mean, well, you could have stopped some of this from happening. Anyways, let's move on. So then we see that they're at the police station now, and Rafe is inside with Brady, and he tells him, sir, I know you didn't have these drugs, and the police report will come back that your hands were not on those pills. He was like, no, they were my pills. I did it. He was like, do you want a lawyer? He was like, no need. I did it. Let my son go free. It's all on me. I gave Holly the pills. I sold them to her. So then Rafe is like, okay, sir. So he ends up leaving, and John comes in, and John tells him, I want to get my son a lawyer. And Rafe said, it's not up to you, John. Like, Brady is refusing. He just wants to talk, so it's not up to you. So John is like, ugh. And I said, just go into the room and talk to Brady. Everybody else does it. And so then the next thing you know, Rafe goes back in and talks to Brady, and he says, so you gave the pills? And he said, yes, I'm an addict. I've been using, and I've been selling and everything. And Rafe said, so, okay, so if we do blood work, you're going to fail. They're going to find it in your system, yes or no. And so Brady didn't say anything because, sir, no. And so then he's just like, oh. Rafe just tells Brady, why are you covering up? Just let the truth come out, and we'll investigate it. And then Tate runs into the police station, and John is there, and he was like, Tate, what are you doing here? He said, I need to stop my dad. So then he runs into the interrogation room, and he tells them, they were my pills. My dad is lying for me. They were my pills. And I said, why are y'all lying? Why are y'all lying? Just tell Holly, wake your little self up. Wake your little self up. You got Tate in a world of trouble. I don't understand why Tate and Brady are lying. Just tell the truth and let them investigate. But Tate is just like, they're gonna accuse me of having the pills, because he did have the pills on him, but they were Holly's pills. And hopefully she wakes up from this coma and she can tell the truth that they were her pills. I don't know, child. Y'all tell me what you think. And that's all I have for you today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you tomorrow for an all new episode of What Happened on the Soaps Days of Our Lives edition. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.